To both of you, President Putin, he mentioned today, he said that the West was to blame for what happened, Nord Stream. I know the United States has already rejected that. Do you have any assessment of what actually happened?
So that was interesting. So he goes real still as this question is asked. And then as he hears Putin blaming the West, Blinken starts to sway. It looks like Canada did too.
Do you have any assessment of what actually happened? Could this be a violation of, could this invoke Article?
Oh, she did it at the end. So she was still throughout the whole thing. And then do you have an assessment of what actually happened? And then she starts to sway. So her stress came after. Blinken's came during.
Article 5 for NATO. And what does it say about security of the Baltics? Is there a need to up the security there? And President Zelensky, in response to what happened today, called for fast-track membership into NATO. Do you have any opinion on that? Do you think that all countries in NATO should be on board with that? If I could just follow up on one thing the foreign minister mentioned. You mentioned
as he asked that question, Zelensky asking to join NATO. You see the positive head movement in the yes fast track. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, you hear from the news, but then you see from this perspective, it's a yes. It's not a stepping away from it. He's not trying to get away from Zelensky joining NATO. It is a yes.
Democracy. Brazil has elections coming on Sunday. I wonder if the two of you had any conversations about how to approach that, when to recognize the results, if there are any concerns about preserving the stability of democracy in the Western Hemisphere's second most populous country. Thanks very much.
Tu veux commencer?
Je commence. Oui, moi, je vais y aller après.
Sean, thank you. First, on the pipelines, we've been in very close contact with our partners in Europe, notably with Denmark and Sweden.
So we're seeing a lot of heightened stress. We have a sway, and then right before the sway, the hand is playing with something on the desk. He's avoiding eye contact. He's basically acting squirrely.
We are supporting the investigation into...
So we're supporting the investigation. All of a sudden, everything stops in the body. All movement, hands together, arms come in close. We're supporting the investigation. And basically what you see with those words is the shutdown. It's like, oh, okay. Makes me think of lockout.
Into these attacks on the pipelines and working to...
And then after that, he opens right back up into the attacks of the pipelines.
Be able to determine who's responsible. But I don't want to get ahead of those investigations.
So then he goes right back into the lockdown mode of, finding out who's responsible. Hands come together, locked, body stiffens. Who's responsible?
That work is ongoing. I think everyone by now is well aware of something that Melanie alluded to more broadly, but specific to Russia, which is the outrageous misinformation and disinformation campaigns that it engages in. So I really have nothing to say to the absurd allegation from President Putin that we or other partners or allies are somehow responsible for this. But we will get...
So we're really struggling. Other partners are responsible for this.
Get to the bottom of what happened, and we'll share that information as soon as we have it. But I don't want to get ahead of the investigation that's ongoing.
So talking about the investigation, we're still acting squirrely. We're extremely gated. We don't want things out, and we're playing with things on the desk. We're avoiding eye contact at key moments, and we're struggling with a big breath to get through. It's like, oh, okay. Yeah, these are not the droids you're looking for.
With regard to NATO and Ukraine, our position is and remains clear and the same as it's been. We strongly support NATO's open door. We strongly support bringing into NATO countries that seek to join and that can add to NATO's capabilities. There's a process for doing that, and countries will continue to follow that process.
So we have an eye avoidance on the latter part of that, the stress and the gated, and an eye avoidance on that. It would suggest a problem in the process.
And then when it comes to Brazil and the elections, we're obviously not...
Okay, that was definite. When it comes to Brazil and the elections, hands come apart and he just throws them up in the air. There's nothing he can do.
Regardless of responsibility, obviously the energy supply situation in Europe is bad and only going to get worse as a result of this. I'm wondering if the two of you spoke at all today about what your two countries can do, either independently or collectively, to help to ease some of that pressure? And is there a heightened sense of danger in light of that if we're talking about providing supplies, shipping supplies across the ocean? Is it as simple as that, or is it more complicated now as a result of these attacks?
I think first it's important to make clear that these pipelines, that is Nord Stream 1 and Nord Stream 2, were not pumping gas into Europe at this time. Nord Stream 2 never became operational, as is well known. Nord Stream.
So we see a slight smile on that. 2 never became operational, and it's like an inside laugh. The head's tilted down, looking down, and the smile comes through. Never became operational.
1 has been shut down for weeks because of Russia's weaponization of energy. What we've been doing, and we've also been working on this together for many, many weeks, as we saw the Russian aggression in Ukraine and as we saw the ongoing weaponization of energy by Russia, is to work very closely with European partners as well as countries around the world to make sure that there is enough energy on world markets. And so we've significantly increased our production as well as making available to Europe liquefied natural gas. And we're now the leading supplier of LNG to Europe to help compensate for any gas or oil that it's losing as a result of Russia's aggression against Ukraine. We've worked to release oil from our strategic petroleum reserve to make sure as well that there was oil on the markets and to help keep prices down. We've engaged with the European Union and established months ago a task force to work directly with Europe on ways to decrease demand to help get through the winter, as well as to pursue additional supply and to find ways to speed up the transition to renewables, even as we're getting through this challenging period. So all of that work is ongoing. My own sense, and I mentioned this the other day, is, look, there's a lot of hard work to do to make sure that countries and partners get through the winter. Europe itself has taken very significant steps to both decrease demand, but also look at ways to pursue the transition to renewables at the same time. And ultimately, this is also a tremendous opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity to once and for all remove the dependence on Russian energy, and thus to take away from Vladimir Putin the weaponization.
He's telling his truth. The squirreliness, the fidgeting, the avoidance of eye contact. He's telling you his truth. All of that has gone away with his truth coming out. It's an opportunity for what he is telling you. And his body sings with it. There's nothing else there. There's no other hidden agenda. There's nothing. This is it.
If you like it, please share and subscribe. Thanks for watching.